do it. Come on, take that last sip so we can relive the 90s together.
I don't know if this is the Surge talking, but for once, I'm gonna take control of my own destiny.
Sucker.
Whoa! Wow, that was quite a trip. Talk about memory lane. Oh, hey boy, how's it going? I missed you so much. Well, I'm back from the 1990s. My voyage was pretty cool. I should probably tell you what happened, huh? Yeah, you may want to hear. Well, when I got out of the portal, Not this again!
Hello, Miketendo. I am the Big Mac.
I know who or what you are. So let's just get to the plot so we can review the game.
Do you like McDonald's?
Not really.
Well, you look like you do, just saying.
Hey!
Anyway, I've got one more 90s Happy Meal for you. Go ahead, open it up.
Alright, let's see what we got in here. Chicken McNuggets, fries. You ordered the milk? Who the hell orders the milk?
I'm trying to watch my girlish figure.
Whatever. A Sega Genesis game. Global Gladiators. Making Mac? Oh boy, this just reeks of awful. But how does it taste gameplay-wise?
Put it in your Sega Genesis and return back to the 1990s once more.
Mick and Mac, two characters that are thankfully lost from McDonald's modern-day roster of characters meant to sap the souls and metabolisms from children of all ages. But who are these two, and where do they come from, and why do they have their own games? Back in the 90s, McDonald's decided to create two kids with indistinguishable personalities named Mick and Mac. Half the time I can't keep track which is which. I haven't seen these two in anything other than video games, so it's safe to say they ceased to exist elsewhere in the McDonald's character lore, which I'm sure exists in some strange corner of the internet. Originally, these two starred in a platforming adventure called MC Kids, which was released by Virgin Entertainment on the Nintendo Entertainment System. Though at the time the development team was different than Global Gladiators, Sega's machine definitely received the better of the two titles. It's also worth noting that some sort of contractual restrictions did not allow Global Gladiators to be released for either the Super Nintendo and the Game Boy, two systems that were supposed to get the game. Though to be fair, the Big N may have dodged a bullet there.
So let's take a bite out of that blast processing burger. Make mine with extra yum.
You want to try that one again? I think my buns just exploded from stupidity.
Global Gladiators was released in 1992 on the Sega Genesis, right around the same time as MC Kids on the NES. The game was designed by David Perry, who also worked on Earthworm Jim. In fact, many of the staff would go on to work on entries in the Earthworm Jim series, most notably Tommy Tallarico. But we'll get to his soundtrack in a...
Are you ready?
What?
Yeah.
What is this?
Are you ready?
What's happening?
Yes, that's right. It's the best song ever.
No! Seriously though, that's really inaccurate. Mega Man 3's soundtrack blows this one right out of the...
Focus!
Yeah!
When the title screen boots up, we're listening to Tommy Tallarico's wacky soundtrack, which is extremely heavy on the PCM samples. They all sound extremely crisp and clean on the Genesis, which is notably impressive, but man, is this a strange song. Regarding the rest of the soundtrack, I couldn't help but yearn for more of the music as the game went on, and there are some songs in here that are actually extremely well written and make excellent use of strong piano and strong bass lines. While the compositions themselves are great, they never really fit into the worlds you traverse, so it's just really good music without building any kind of atmosphere. It's a great mix of guitar, techno, and even some blues that makes this a strange but okay soundtrack in my book. The story goes like this. Mick and Mac are hanging out in where else but McDonald's, where they are reading about fictional superhero characters called the Global Gladiators. They start talking about how great it would be to be a gladiator when, all of a sudden, Ronald McDonald shows up out of nowhere and sends them into the comic book.
Like, what the hell, man? Isn't that child abduction or something? I mean, he didn't even ask for their parents' permission. This game is not family friendly.
They're in a McDonald's. Ronald McDonald magic is 9/10 the law there.
Your character is selectable only in the options screen. Why this choice isn't presented in the game itself is a little strange. I mean, what if I wanted to switch back and forth? I have to play the whole game through to then play it again as a different shade of generic kid? I've tried every button combination too, and there is no way to switch back and forth between the two kids. Weird. Starting off, your only line of defense as you traverse slime worlds, forests, factories, and ice caverns is a super soaker filled with unlimited nacho cheese? Seriously, what is that stuff? Well, apparently your job as a global gladiator is to rid the earth of pollution. Yes, McDonald's of all conglomerates were trying to teach kids about saving the world from pollution and teaching them how to recycle. By shooting nacho cheese at globs of green ooze? I don't think that's how you get rid of pollution. So the whole game you're going through, blasting away the enemies and collecting these random multicolored tiny M logos. Some of these are a real pain to collect, and while you don't have to get every single one, the mechanics work similar to Sonic the Hedgehog, allowing you to collect a certain amount before the game lets you know you've achieved enough M's to get to the bonus level. This signifies that you've collected enough M's and can then head towards the goal where Ronald McDonald is waiting.
Shall I say creeping?
Hey man, don't piss off the Ron. He'll make sure you'll never see the light of day.
If you're referring to putting me in one of his stupid environmental comic books, I can assure you I've escaped from plenty of video game worlds before. In all honesty, that's one of the few stupid gimmicks that this show hasn't explored before.
The bonus levels are actually pretty fun. Certain recyclables will fall from the sky and you can run back and forth quickly, collecting them and throwing them into the correct recycle bin. Your reward for getting a large amount of these is 1-ups and even continue coins. These are crucial if you're planning on not entering in cheat codes to bypass levels. Combat-wise, the game mostly feels great. You can aim up or down and your shot naturally arcs, but not in an obnoxious way where it goes right over the enemies. Shooting your nacho cheese gun, you're able to take down multiple enemies quickly and with relative ease. The game also runs extremely smooth, so you won't see a lot of frame rate dropping when the screen fills up with enemies. However, there's an issue when shooting. Your character slightly moves backwards due to the recoil. So while you can fire this thing off similar to Mega Man, the problem is, if you're on a small platform, you can easily knock yourself off due to the recoil. Damn it! The game's major focus is shooting enemies and collecting M icons. These can sometimes be extremely hard to see because they blend into some of the backgrounds very easily. However, the platforming in itself can be stress-inducing. You're able to look up and down, but the main problem is taking leaps of faith, which can be either rewarding or aggravating. The forest levels are especially bad because some of the branches are too small, or they look like branches but aren't, so you can jump on them and land on nothing. For the most part though, there's usually a way to go down if you're too high up. If you die, you start at the beginning of the level, though you can collect arrows to continue from that spot instead. However, once you lose all lives, if you use a continue, you have to play through the level from the beginning with nothing collected. Eventually, you'll run into the final boss, and honestly, he's kind of a breeze. The game really isn't all that challenging combat-wise, as most of the times you end up dying from just getting hit too many times. You can destroy most projectiles with your blaster, but sometimes a row of enemies is just too much to handle. Honestly, most of the times I died, it was from stupid mistakes, such as shooting myself into a pit thanks to the recoil problem, or passing through something I thought was solid, which ends up being a pit. It's just a huge pain when it comes to platforming in many situations. The game isn't a bad game, though it really isn't much more than an excuse for McDonald's to make a game about recycling, which in and of itself is pretty ridiculous. Once you beat the game, Ronald trolls the two kids some more when they come back from the comic. They ask Ronald if it all really happened, if they had become Global Gladiators. Ronald's response, maybe? Maybe? Clearly they have some form of memory of this happening. Is the game trying to pass this off as a dream? Why is Ronald being a total ass to these poor kids?
What a stupid ending.
But it made you want to have some McDonald's, didn't it?
You know what? Indeed it did.
My emperor! I